Hi guys, this is Tanya Mendes with Apple Tree Homeschool Academy, and today I want to share with you the topic of varying grade levels with your curriculum and in your homeschool. I've always wondered why even in public schools some children were able to be advanced by a year or 2 years, and I never did understand that until I started homeschooling. And one thing that I've noticed that in some curriculum, some different publishers, um, and really a lot of them, have the same identical information from year to year, from grade level to grade level, only varying a tiny little bit. And there might be very minute amount of new information added into the same skill from year to year. And for an example, I'm going to be using this curriculum from grammar and writing, and this is the grammar section. This is an second grade level grammar, and this topic is about nouns. They introduce what a noun is: a person, place, or thing. And this is all second grade in this packet here. They introduce about compound words. That's just something they chose to do, is put compound words in there as mostly nouns. Then they discuss singular and plural nouns. Okay. Then they discuss how to add an S to form the plural of each noun. And then the rule for when you add ES to form a plural of a noun. And you add ES to words that end in CH, SH, S, X, and Z. All right? So that's about forming plural nouns. And then they even dive into some special plural nouns that change their spelling completely, like man to men and woman to women, child to children, and so forth. And that's it for second grade nouns. Now for third grade nouns, I guess they go ahead and assume that you already know what a noun is, and then they refresh the rule on singular and plural nouns. Okay, and they have adding S and ES. Okay, and then they have the spelling rule here with a CH, SH, S, X, and Z to add ES. Okay, and then special plural, like changing Y to I and adding ES. And then again, man to men, woman to women. And that's it for third grade level. Fourth grade level, again, they're talking about singular and plural nouns, adding ES to S, SH, CH, SS, X, or Z words, ending in those letters. Here's a rule they're introducing: if a plural noun ends in a vowel, then you add S, and then changing the Y to I and adding ES. Again, this material was covered in this third grade lesson. I think this is the only new piece of information, is this one right here. All right, singular and plural, and then some special plural nouns. Okay, that's fourth grade level. Now, one thing I would like to share is that the font size for the second grade is a little bit larger than the font size of the third grade. I think you can probably tell the difference between those two font sizes. And it looks like to me, I can't really tell if the third grade and the fourth grade are the same. They look about the same, maybe a tiny bit smaller for the fourth grade. I'm not real sure. I can't really tell that big of a difference. All right, now again for the fifth grade year, we're talking about nouns being a person, place, or thing, common and proper nouns, which is the same as all the others, except for I think they skipped common and proper nouns in the grade 4. I'm not really seeing that real quick. But every grade level has the same information. As you can tell, this page has a lot more information as far as text writing on it, but the actual information is basically the same until you get right here. They're introducing a simple subject and an object of a preposition. Okay, so that's new information for English 5. Okay, and then singular and plural nouns, they're going over again. Here's the CH, SH, SH, SX, Z, and ES rule. There's the consonant plus the Y where you change the I and add ES. If the noun ends in a vowel plus a Y, you add S, which was the same thing as, let's see, same rule as the 4th grade has. So far on this page, I see no new real information. Okay, more rules here in the box. Okay, it looks like maybe this is a new rule here, where for a noun ending in a vowel plus O, you add S. A consonant plus O. Okay, this this rule here where you're changing the F to the V's, I did see that in a previous grade level here, where you change the F to a V and add ES. That is grade 4. So far the 5th grade level only has the O ending in a vowel plus an O, or a consonant and an O. Musical terms. Yeah, and then again we have the special plurals. So the only thing I see that the grade 5 has is this a vowel plus the O and the consonant plus the O rule. And let me double check again. This is all the same from previous grade levels. And they introduced the simple subject here, the object of a preposition in the level 5. So as you see, there is very, very little difference between the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. The real difference you see, they do add a few pieces of information to these grade levels, but the bulk of the information from that's in this packet here carries through to the other 3 grade levels. So the biggest difference is the font size, and the amount of actual word text on this page is a lot. The text font is larger, but the text itself is shorter, and there's just a little bit more text on this. Okay, so that's one example. Okay, I'm going to go on with the next section that would be in this curriculum. If you went in order, the way the text is lined out, the textbook is mapped out. And we're still talking about common and proper nouns, and we'll be getting into capitalization with the proper nouns. So in the 2nd grade version, they introduce common and proper nouns, and that you capitalize the proper nouns. The 3rd grade is the same. Okay. And that's pretty much all there is. Let's see. The 4th grade is the same. Okay. Introducing capitalization with the proper nouns, the names of persons, places, and things. So then we also have for grade 2 abbreviations. More abbreviations in grade 2. And in 3, we have abbreviations. Now we have the months, the days of the week, and titles of people abbreviation for 2nd grade. The second page for 2nd grade is streets, the abbreviation for streets and for states, and showing you how to fill out an envelope. And then for the 3rd grade, we have months, days of the years, titles of people, streets, books of the Bible, and states. And then I guess that's here's states here for 2nd grade. So all the same information between 2nd and 3rd grade with abbreviations is here. Okay, and this is street, city, states, and countries for the grade 2. Okay, capitalizing titles is also in grade 2. Titles of books, stories, the Bible. And in grade 4. So grade 2 and grade 4 has capitalizing titles of book, stories, poems, Bibles. Okay. They only have books and stories and the Bible here. And then they've added in, let's see, book, stories, and poems. They added poems to the list. They're talking about underlining the titles of books and putting quotation marks around the title of a story or a poem. So this is new information in the grade 4. Okay. Okay, more capitalizing proper nouns. This would be specific people like Dr. or Mr., Mrs. Days of the week, months, dates, and holidays. This is grade 2. Grade 3, all the same thing. Here's titles of peoples, names of buildings, street, city, states, countries, rivers, lakes, and oceans. So they have lakes and oceans here in the grade 3. Titles of books and stories, names of God, as well as the Bible and its divisions. So the only difference between level 2, okay, this is level 2 is I'm thinking it looks like they've added rivers, lakes, and oceans to the list. And maybe more of the underlining and the quotation marks for the grade 3. So that's 2. But otherwise, everything is basically the same. It's very, very similar. Okay, this is the level 4, and we have 7 rules here. Names, initials, titles of people, titles for God, names of buildings. So I think names of buildings is new that the 2nd and 3rd grade did not have. This rule is the same as the 3rd grade rule. Same as the 2nd and 3rd grade rule. Okay, this is an introducing that you capitalize teams, businesses, and organizations. So number 6 is a new rule, and that the lower grades did not have, and the capitalizing the names of the buildings. So names of the buildings and names of teams, businesses, and organizations was not addressed in the lower 2nd and 3rd grade. Okay, and because that's in the level 4. And then for the level 5, they have an introduction of proper nouns is a specific person, place, or thing. You capitalize the initials of people, titles of respect, abbreviations of titles, which is the same thing that the other lower grade levels covered. Mrs., Reverend, President Lincoln. Okay, they're also reiterating the groups and teams, which was covered in the, hold on here, the teams was covered, let me see here, right here, 6 of the number 6 of the 4th grade level. So again, it's reiterated here. All of these are exact same, and I can't see any that's new here. So that's a repeat of the other information on the lower grades. Again, they talk about abbreviations, and this time with the 5th grade level, they're bringing in the abbreviations of metric units and customary measurement units and times. The others is a repeat from earlier grades. Okay. And they have a section on using the commas and dates and writing a letter and different things like that. But the lower grades also have commas. I just left this with these 3 pages, or these 2 pages, because they all fit in the book in the same area. So that's another example of how the skill of capitalizing an abbreviation changes very, very slightly from year to year. And that's how you can utilize the same materials and get benefit no matter what grade level you have. Okay, this section, for example, is on prefixes. Only grades 3 from this curriculum, only grades 3, 4, and 5 have prefixes. This one, they introduced 6 different prefixes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see the font's a little bit, it looks like the font's a little bit larger, and it does not have as much visual text writing on the page as the older 2 levels do. Now this is level 4 and this is level 5, or grade 4, grade 5. And they introduce what the prefix is in both, gives you the definition up here at the top. Okay, and this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this one. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this one. And they also join the suffix in the same chart in the level 5, but the suffix has a different page for these lower levels. So they still cover suffixes, however, not just on the same page like this one in level 5 does. So this was what the grade 4 would look like with independent practice on the back. And this is what the grade 5 would. So like I said, I have another week of lessons scheduled out where prefixes is on one week and suffixes on another with the grade 5. Because this would have been something introduced for 2 years prior, they just join their prefixes, suffixes on one page, and then that's all they have of that one level. Okay, so what I did is go ahead and get the table of contents out so that you do see that there are some additional overall topics or skills that's covered from year to year, slightly different than the previous year. Now, what's important about this is that if you have maybe a 2nd grader and a 4th grader, you could get by with using a 3rd grade level book for both of your students, and they could share the 3rd grade level. Or you might can have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader, and they could share a 4th grade book. Now, when I first started homeschooling, I did not understand how that worked. Or you may have a lower level child that could try to keep up with an older sibling who had passed down their materials. I had not understood that until I started working through the textbooks after I got a little bit of a homeschooling experience with using the materials that you find. And this is very similar among publishers. And even the workbooks that you get in, say, the regular stores in Walmart, the big box stores. The information changes very little from textbook to textbook in something like grammar, and I find our science textbooks were very similar as well from the same publishers from year to year. The difficulty in reading level was just slightly more difficult the following year. So that's how you could technically skip a textbook, or because the information in the higher grade levels is repeating all the information that you got in the lower levels. All right. Now, for this particular section, I'm showing you how second grade covers sentences, sentence subjects, sentence actions would be, which is verbs, telling sentences and commands, exclamations, and questions, which is a simpler version of naming the 4 types of sentences. As you get into the, let's see, 4th grade book, the 4th grade level, 3rd grade is still calling them questions, commands, and exclamations. But when you get into the 4th grade level, they're calling the 4 types of sentences declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. Okay? Now, I have never needed to use, in my 51 years on this earth, never needed to tell anybody what the name of a sentence was, whether it was declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory. However, children will need to know that language when they're taking state testing. So, if you're going into being a writer or an editor, or work for a newspaper as a journalist, maybe those types of things information will be more necessary for you. All right. In the 5th grade level, again, they're talking about the imperative and the different types of sentences. Sentences, sentence fragments, which is what they introduced in grade 3. Sentence fragments. 4th grade, sentence fragments. 5th grade, sentence fragments. They do not have that, I believe. Yeah, no, they have it in the 2nd grade as well. Right here, sentence fragments. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but I always talk about what is a noun, what is a verb, and have the child understand what a noun is and what a verb is before I talk about sentences and before I talk about subjects and predicates. So I'll do lessons on nouns and verbs first, and then I'll dive into the sentences. Okay? All right, so this, like I said, this is all about sentences and what kind of sentences. All right, 3rd grade level, they're getting into combining subjects and predicates. So you got a couple of subjects or more, a couple of predicates or more, and compounding your sentences. They're also talking about run-on sentences. Okay. In this particular curriculum, they are introducing diagramming subjects and predicates, or diagramming sentences. And in this section, it happens to be subjects and predicates. This is level 4. So that's when they start introducing diagramming sentences. Again, they're talking of compound sentences, which is the same as in the 3rd grade. Okay. The 5th grade. Okay. We still have sentences and fragments, just like all the other grade levels. The types of sentences using the advanced language, or the advanced titles. Simple subjects and predicates. Compound subjects and predicates, just like in grade 4. And in this particular chapter, they're introducing prepositions, which the other levels have in future chapters. They're just introducing it a little sooner in this grade 5. And the prepositions would be object of preposition and prepositional phrases. Okay. So there's one sample. Okay. So in the next second grade, we talking about nouns, nouns and compound words, adding s, adding es, plural nouns and common and proper nouns, and capitalizing. Same thing for this for grade 3. Same thing for grade 4. And same thing for grade 5, which is what we discussed earlier, and I showed you the paperwork for that, what the worksheets actually look like. Okay, for their verb section, this is going to be talking about past, present, and future verbs using exact verbs, which means instead of saying walk, trying to find other verbs to describe what you're trying to say in a more detailed manner. So you're looking at introducing a thesaurus here, and some special verbs here. So past and present here. And then here is an introduction to what a verb is, past, present, future. And in this one, they are introducing helping and irregular verbs. Okay, which don't know if they have this irregular helping verbs in the second grade. I don't think they do. I think that they introduced that in the third grade level, and then again they have linking verbs and helping verbs. Now in the level 4, they introduce direct objects and contractions and double negatives. In the grade 5, it's what is a verb, the linking verbs, the direct objects, sentence patterns, which that's where you put like SV and different letters above your wording in your sentence and create patterns. Okay, this is main verbs and helping verbs and contractions and double negatives, just like the grade 3. Okay, in this section, there are chapter 7s here. They are study and reference skills, and even their title for their chapter is all study and reference skills. So over on grade 2, it's tips for good listening, listening for the main idea, parts of a book, the dictionary, the library, and tips for taking a good message, because they're talking about telephone directory. In the grade 3, we still have the parts of a book, glossary, index, dictionary, encyclopedia, library, and they're introducing the atlas. I don't think atlas was in grade 2. All right, parts of a book in this one, and this one. The dictionary is in all of them. Yeah, even the second grade. This one is introducing periodicals, whereas this one has the encyclopedia, and this is periodics and encyclopedias. It has the atlas. This one introduced, which is grade 4, making an outline and taking notes. There was like 1 page of each of those, and it wasn't very much. And this one has all the same. This is introducing an almanac, an atlas, and an almanac. So I'm only seeing an almanac introduced here is the only difference between those grade levels. Let's see, what was the difference? The older 3 have the atlas compared to none for the second grade that I know of. It's not on their contents list here. And then this one has periodicals, and this one has the almanac. So that's the only difference between that chapter. Okay, and this one I do slowly see in the upper 2 grade levels, the 5th and 6th grade, a little bit more, and probably a good amount more details with or skills with the pronouns. Now, on all of these, they're talking about proper nouns and pronouns. So this is about capitalizing their proper nouns, your abbreviations, more abbreviations. The pronouns I and me, whereas down here in the 4th grade, it's I and me, we and us. So the 4th grade introduces we and us. Okay, we've got plural pronouns and possessive nouns. This one we have subject pronouns, making subject pronouns and verbs agree. Object pronouns, again using I and me, same as 2nd grade. Possessive pronouns, same as the 2nd grade had possessive nouns. 3rd grade has possessive pronouns, and here's possessive nouns and pronouns. Okay. 4th grade is singular and plural pronouns, subject and object pronouns, which the 3rd grade level had. Like I said, it's I and me, we and us. Subject pronoun and verb agreement, which was in grade 3 as well. Possessive pronouns was in grade 3, and confusing contractions is new on the list in the 4th grade. So as far as I can tell, I don't see much difference between the 3rd and 4th other than they introduce we and us. Okay, the 5th grade is singular and plural pronouns, subject-object pronouns, which is also discussed in the younger grades, compound subjects and compound objects. So that's new. The pronoun antecedent agreement is new. Possessive pronouns is in all of them, but the reflective pronouns is new. So as far as I can see, the compound subjects and compound objects, the pronoun antecedent agreement, and the reflective pronouns is new in the 5th grade. Okay, the next chapter is more verbs, and the only thing that I could see different between these was that in grade 5, chapter 11, they introduce perfect tenses. So we'll move on. Okay, I think this is going to be the last chapter. They do have a chapter on the back, which is about sentences, and I don't know, it looks like it's just sort of a wrap-up from what I can tell here. This one has a little different information there, so I may go ahead and go back over that. But chapter 13 for 2nd grade on adjective is using the senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, to use for your descriptive words. It's comparing ER and EST, which is also, I don't see listed on the 3rd grade, but it is listed on the 4th grade, and it's listed on the 5th grade.